right at the moment, but I'm not fiddling around with it. This is what we've got. So, want to just dive right in here? Does anyone have any questions that will be unlikely to be answered as I go over the five banners? Does anyone have any questions outside of the five banners? I guess that's a better way of putting it. Okay, guess not. Then guess we'll go right into banner one then. All right, so banner one is the old banner three. Um, which is good because we're going to be getting the 5-star lightning magicite before before the first banner hits. I think what, on the 21st or something. So the longer that we would have had to wait to pull on the Earth banner, I guess it kind of takes away from the impetus. So it's good. It's closer to the launch. Hopefully we get the Earth pickup around the same time. That would be nice. That's tomorrow, is it? Yeah. Yeah, 5-star magicite. Hope you're ready. But anyway, this is a completely Earth banner, and you know, for all the few physical Earth things on here, it's a magical Earth banner. The only physical stuff we're looking at here is Galoof BSB2, which isn't bad, but neither of Galoof's LMRs are on here, so it's not like it's a strong, and Sync BSB, which isn't bad because Sync is a heavy combat character, and oof, that's going to be annoying. It's a really easy to hit back button. Uh, both Sync and Galoof get access to heavy combat, and I'm assuming that's why that they're here, and not Tifa and whatever the hell else was on here before. Um, Sync BSB and Sync LMR both start out with Unearth, which makes her at least a character able to deal some damage, enough damage with the overflow attack that we're going to be getting as part of the autumn login bonus. So there's a heavy combat ability that we're going to be getting as part of the login bonus, which allows us to break the damage cap with its attack, and that's a useful thing to have. I don't know how necessary it is, but it's basically allows you to obey the mechanic of the 5-star magicite, which is if you deal an attack that breaks the damage cap, if it does 5-digit damage, then it pops the boss out of an ultra damage, or yeah, an ultra damage output mode, and you know, better allows you to survive. Not always necessary, right? Because magical characters generally don't have heavy combat. It's only helps in physical. So the characters that do get heavy combat and are able to deal earth damage, like Sync and Gloof, are pretty useful. Gloof, particularly, because he is a holder of the chain, but Sync is the only like heavy combat specialist in the game, so her USB is particularly strong in the fight. Um, her BSB and her LMR are kind of like, and they're not strong for the fight, but they at least allow you to obey the mechanics, so you can slow roll it. Um, so that's what we got there. Oh, before I go any further into the banner, I will say that just like I said in the last banner analysis 3 months ago, uh, these banners for Japan looked different than they do for us. But looking at these banners through the lens of this is what changed from one banner to the other is a poor way to go about it, because it gives you preconceptions of what the banner should be and if it got better or worse, which doesn't help with assessing the banner at all. Doesn't help at all. So it's not helpful to do that. When I first saw what these banners turned into from what they were in Japan, I got pissed and I said I'm just not pulling on any of this shit, which doesn't it doesn't make sense to do that, because that's not an assessment of the banners themselves. Banners can still be good after changes that weren't good. So it doesn't. Yeah. So I just won't be doing that. It's counterproductive. There we go. That's the word I was searching for. Okay, so back to the main focus of this banner, which is Earth Magic. Earth Magic is hard to come by. Thanks a lot, Poker. Earth Magic is very difficult to come by, and this banner is basically just meant to get everybody up to speed. And I think it's pretty good all around as far as getting there. I think everyone needs to always remember that mages have a weapon that physical doesn't, or two weapons that physical doesn't, and their names are Vivi and Palom. So you always have to remember that Vivi and Palom are earth mages. They are wind mages. They are water mages. And when you pull on like single focus banners like this, earth magic for the lightning magicite. Just remember, if you have either of those characters, or if you plan on paying the 3,000 gems for the USB select, you have the option of getting one of those Omni Mages, and that will affect the pulls that you make on banners like this, because you already have one slot on that team covered with a potent mage that can deal as much earth damage as you need from one slot, especially if you have a chain. Which exists on this banner, and we'll get to that in a second. But we're going to start out with the Maria ASB. 3 single target magical earth attacks that can break the damage cap. This is pretty typical. 6-star Earth Robe, though. That's friggin' great. What if you have both? Do you need to pull it for any elemental magic at all if you can make all the hones? If you can make all the hones, then yes. It depends on what you have to support them. Do I think Vivi, Palom, and a chain is enough for the 5-star Magicites? Yes. Yeah. That's actually what I was getting to in answering Circo's question, is if you have the stuff to support them, which basically is chain, best case scenario, or heavy imperils. Yes. Yeah, they're all you need. Do I share that opinion with Celestin or USB? No problem. No, I don't think I do. Not that Celeste is bad. She's really, really good. She's really good. What is my issue with Celeste? You know what it is? I think it's because she's Spellblades. And I think it's harder to assemble teams. Okay, yeah, this is what I was thinking of. It's hard to assemble teams with abilities for physical than it is for magic. For magic, it's quite simple because it's weird because it's limited. I don't know. God, yeah, I'm having trouble trying to talk about what this. Yeah, that's true. Spellblades do less, and if you're using multiple Spellblades on the team, Celeste is not the only good Spellblade in the game. If you're using multiple Spellblades, all of a sudden, and this is where the damage done with Spellblades comes into play, is that you get knocked down to one of those Spellblades, and one of the best Spellblades in the game, his name is Bartz. He's pretty good, I hear. One of your Spellblades, either Celeste or Bartz or whoever else, ends up using the 5-star Spellblade ability, which does much less damage output than the 5-star Black Magic. And the nice part about Black Magic is there's a couple elements that have multiple 6-star abilities, but I think there's less that have the single target. Like for the Lightning Magicite, for instance, what do Black Mages have available to them? Chainstone Ja, Chainstone Ga, the 5-star. So that's a 6-star and the 5-star. Meltdown, the 6-star. So there's 2 6-star abilities. Spellblades also have 2 6-star abilities, so that's nice. But we don't have the stone, the Earth Spellblade 6-star yet. So alls we have is that one that we got in the first month of the Torments. I forget what it's called. Blast Strike, Blast Spell Strike. That's the only 6-star we have right now, where mages have access to 2 6-star abilities. So by using multiple damage types, damage schools in your team right now, you're basically you're limiting your damage output. You're taking a hit in order to use both of those damage types. What do we have for double 6-star Spellblades? We have Fire. Is that it? At the moment, we will be getting more single. So it would actually reach parity with the Black Magic because we'd have Blast Spell, which is a dual element, and then we'd have the 5-hit 6-star Spellblade for single element. And both of those could be used together on different Spellblade characters. But anyway, mages have a better time of it, and that's why. Oh, plus the fact that Palom has a 35% chance to dual cast spell or Black Magic, while Vivi has a 50%. Both of them are just better at dealing generic Black Magic damage. All the snow spells, right? Can make tons of those. Not that Celeste is bad. I don't want to give that impression. She's just not on the same level as Vivi and Palom. Okay. So, yeah, all of that for Maria's ASB. Maria is the premier Earth Mage in the game. She, like Palom and Vivi, have a Black Magic ability double USB. She does not have the multi-elemental capabilities that Vivi and Palom are, so I didn't include her in that talk. But as far as Earth is concerned, she gets an Earth while they don't, which makes her an Earth specialist and a damn good one. So Maria is the Earth Mage with the mostest, and both her ASB and her really powerful USB are both on the banner. So good start right there. The chain, which enables all of these, big hit count mages to do what they do. Maria, Vivi, Palom. Are there any good Earth chases out there that can take advantage of this chain really well? Because chases and ability doubles are usually your chaining people. Oh yeah, and dual casting machinists because they're broken. Right. Right. Maria doesn't have a dual cast, so she's got crap. I wouldn't really suggest diving Maria. Onion Knight USB 3. Yeah, that counts. Yeah, Onion Knight. He's in this festival too. So let's include him in one of the people that can take real good advantage of the chain. How viable is it to use a magic chain for a physical team and vice versa for 5-star? Depends on the character. If they have something that they can do, which is what makes these support 5 chain users so good, is the things that they are capable of are good for both physical and magical. Yeah, you lose the 50% stat buff, but okay, it's really not that bad. That just means, or say, one of the bad parts about Onion Knight's physical USB is that Generation 2 chains, like not Red 13's, let's say Promptos. Promptos on this festival is exactly this, except for lightning and plus 50% attack. So Onion Knight's physical USB is like, well, I'm losing a lot of what makes Onion Knight's physical USB so good, so why didn't I just use Heiska, the ability paired with that, and go to town, right? Well, Onion Knight with his physical USB can come back right into the fray and say, yeah, it's not like 100% efficient, but I give it 75% efficiency and very viable for 5-star Magicite to pair up Red 13's chain and just forget about this. For a Generation 2 chain, the 50% attack and the crit buff from Onion Knight's physical USB, Onion Knight can use, ninja stuff, and Red 13 can either add to his chain with Chain Stonejaw. He is not going to do a lot of damage because of the heavy damage resistance that a physical boss will have to the magical damage. Or, more preferably, Red 13 sits there and rats it and trusts. Because that's what every 5-star support character has available to them and allows them to be multi-elemental. Because they have no element. They're useful. They are the element of whoever they're entrusting to. So, it's dependent on your team. Are breaks still useless at Magicite? Is that change with 5-star? It changes. Right now, 4-star Magicite are 80% resistant to debuffs, so only 20% of the debuff sticks. 5-star Magicite are 70% resistant, so 30% of the debuffs stick. They do change, not that much for the better, so it's better not to bother with them. There's a new class, somewhat new class of soul breaks that's going to be coming out that rely on the crash level of debuff, which is a 70% debuff. We're used to like 50%ers. There will be a 70% coming out, and 70% debuff with a 70% resistance is kind of similar to our old 50%ers and what we could expect with those. They're just usually shorter in duration. So those will actually be somewhat viable because they will affect the boss in a meaningful way. Wall USB is non-elemental, but yes, the Wall USB is a crash level debuff. Yeah. So the debuffs that we're still used to, the 50%ers, the 40%ers, full break, which is a 30%, are still pretty dumb. In almost every situation, any protection or damage output that you could get from debuffing a boss is probably better sent towards a healer or a damage dealer as a Wrath and Entrust instead. Right. So Red 13 as a support 5 chain holder, good stuff. Good stuff. So two great things to start, you know. Renoa USB 3, 10 single target magical earth attacks. Well, if anyone is taking a look right now at the Final Fantasy VIII event, Renoa's USB 3 is identical to her USB 2. Just swap out ice for earth. And that's it. Same damn thing. Um, Renoa is definitely an ice mage because her USB 1 is better than both her USB 2 or 3 in what they do. But just because the USB 1 and its the crazy awesome 6-hit chase is better, doesn't mean that these Brave USBs are bad. This Brave mode strike will do a lot of damage, and Renoa does have a good dive, which basically allows her to infinitely quick cast as long as you get that first proc off. So Renoa's LM2 is 35% chance to grant herself quick cast 3 after using a black magic ability. So you just trigger that once and you basically have quick cast for the rest of the fight. That's a nice thing with a Brave mode because it allows you to stack up charges and will probably in the course of the USB allow you to use 2 Brave attacks. And the Brave attacks are good. They are good for the mechanics in Magicite, and they are powerful. They're an OSB that not only don't cost soul break points, but give you soul break points. So they are good. And this is obviously the better one of her 2 Braves because with her other Brave is ice, and if you're throwing ice around, there's always the existence of her USB 1, which is better. So this is good, but honestly, this is mainly good because it's on one of the better characters in the game, because Renoa is really, really good. Especially if you were able to pick up her ASB off of the Final Fantasy VIII event that's going on right now. And for anyone who's wondering, I will probably be pulling on that. Not a lot, as the recent revelation of the 4th anniversary in Japan that we'll be getting in March is really reduced any possibility that I'm going to ever deep dive a banner again for the next 6 months. It's basically just going to be, oh, I have a lot of hits on this banner, I'll throw 50 at it, and all right, I'm done. I got something new, moving on. So it's just going to be a slow accumulation of things. Is her N-Earth selectable? Well, her N-Earth Super Soul Break is selectable in the AA, yes. Okay, next. Maria's USB, talked about this already. And nice thing about Maria's relics is this is an Earth weapon. Unfortunately, a bow. I don't think there's any other Earth mages that have access to bows. So, but I mean, if who cares? It's like let's say if this is an Earth Blitzball, because if you get it, then you have the best Earth mage in the game. So you're going to be using her anyway. So whatever. This is her weapon. And her ASB is 6-star Earth armor. Awesome. Oh, Onion Knight. Good call, Negators. Onion Knight is a very, very good mage now. Being quad elemental. He's still pretty decent in the other 2 elements. Or, yeah, other 2 elements. So, there's our 4 6-stars so far. Our 5th 6-star is Lars's USB. I know I wasn't alone in hoping that this was taken off the banner. Because, yeah, it's kind of neat having an instant cast Astra. But it's basically a Super Soul Break because Asuna's not a useful function. Because unfortunately statuses in Final Fantasy Record Keeper are they deal their damage as soon as they land. Well, at least the statuses that can be cured with Asuna deal their damage as soon as they land, so Asuna is too reactive. So you're basically looking at Curaga Medica, Instant, Astra, and High Regen. High Regen is good, but it's better in conjunction with stuff like Last Stand. So it's really nice on like Raijin Super Soul Break or Selfie's USB. Selfie's USB is great. But this is actually kind of an underpowered USB, and it doesn't have a lot of Torment usefulness either, because the Final Fantasy XII Torment, which Larsa is used in, the boss only inflicts sap. Which, okay, it's damage, but it's not like debilitating stuff that you care that much about using status resistance on. You'd rather use heal throughput, like Pinello, what Pinello offers. So Lars is not even a really that great of a healer in the Final Fantasy XII Torment. So what you're looking for here is the Astra, the instantaneous Astra, which honestly, I think in most cases, I'd rather be using Lars's Burst Soul Break if I'm going to be using a healer for the Astra. And his USB is kind of like the Deuce situation, where Deuce has the option of using her USB for instant heals, where most of the time she would rather be using her burst for heals. So this is an unfortunate addition to the banner. It's not bad. It's not bad. I know I'm talking it down, but honestly, I don't really consider it that much of a win at all. Yeah, I guess Super Soul Break is a bit harsh, but it's underpowered as a USB. That's the best way I can put it. Okay, next up, we've moved out of the 6-star section. Unfortunately, we're still on the same 6-star format that we have been for a while. Now, we're on the same format for festivals that we are on for event banners. The Final Fantasy VIII event that just came out also uses a 5-6-star format. So the festival isn't even that much more powerful than other things that we have available to us right now. So that's yet another reason to scrutinize it and to make sure that everything that occurs on the banner makes it, worth your mithril. Next up, we have got Maria's Glint. Instant medium buff Earth. This is a 30% Earth buff and high quick cast too. Not that good. Not good at all, really. She does have ability double, so she spreads out her hits over a ton of attacks. So the damage boost could be useful, but damn, you would much rather like another character who have access to stacking. Like Earth stacking would be so much better than this. I don't understand these glints at all. These are some of the weakest glints in the game, and it's pretty unlikely that I would use it. Yeah, I'll talk about that when we get to it, Chaos. But the banner, you're right. The banner formats for this festival are weaker than the events. Okay, Galoof BSB2. So we've moved out of the glint section already into 4 BSBs, which is just too many. 8 single target physical Earth Fire and Peril Earth. So it's in peril on a good Earth character. Galoof is one of the Earth chain holders, and he has heavy combat available to him. So this is actually a pretty useful BSB. Because BSBs are generally underpowered, but that's okay if the power that's provided by them contributes to the power of the other people on the team. You know, the power of people with the actual power relics. This is fine, probably by itself, especially if you end up getting Gloof's and Earth LMR 3 that comes out in the next Final Fantasy V event. But Gloof has some nice LMR to go with this, so it's probably good by itself as long as you get strong Earth characters, but particularly good if you have his chain and you can use them both together to really buff up the Earth damage of the other people in your party, like Bart's. So this is honestly not bad. And the Final Fantasy V event that's coming that has Gloof's chain on it, and Gilgamesh's chain, it's actually a pretty good Magicite banner, does not have Gloof's BSB2 on it. So, there's no chance of duping if you haven't gotten it already. This table really rocks pretty easily. Okay, next. Sync BSB, talked about it a little bit already. The commands are but really what you're looking at here is Unearth on a character that can use heavy combat, which enables them to better go over the damage cap with the heavy combat ability and obey the mechanics of the 5-star Magicite fight. Definitely totally replaceable by better stuff, but it's a thing if you need to use it. And honestly, a lot of people will. Next up, this is a fine thing to occur on the banner because this, without having to use it, without having to use Emperor the character, buffs up the Earth damage of the characters in your party by being an Earth Rod. I believe it is the only Earth Rod in the entire game, so you could throw this on Rinoa and good stuff. This is a good pull. By itself, it's an Unearth BSB. There's not much else to say about it. Penelo BSB2 is actually pretty good. It's a really good healing soul break. It is better than Lars's USB for the Final Fantasy 12 tournament. Because Last Stand's pretty damn... Oh no, I hit it. Last Stand is pretty damn useful for Zodiark. So this is a useful healer BSB that we were robbed of in the last festival. I will always be salty about that. Thanks for another Vanille BSB. Alright, LMR section. We've got 4 LMRs. Red 13, LMR 2, 25% chance to dual cast Black Magic. He's definitely... definitely prefers to be a Black Mage. And he makes a good chain wielder because, I mean, dual cast allows him to sack chain better. So, this is a good LMR for him. Renault LMR for us, start battle with Unearth. How is this on her? It's alright. Rona has a lot of good legend materia. So if you have decided not to dive her, or if you don't have her 25% chance to dual cast LMR, this is good. But I think I would use those two other legend materia over this one if I had them all. I guess it depends on how the battle runs. The more time she spends casting spells before she grants herself Unearth, the more useful this is. Right, so if you're using her ASB instead of her USB, then this is how she gets her Unearth, so that's a good thing to have. So it does have use, but like I guess in the most ideal Rinoa Soulbreak situation, if you are using her Brave USB, then you may pass this one over. But I still think it's good to have because Rinoa is just... She's good for all situations when it comes to dealing magical earth damage, so it would be good to have this. Maria LMR is just good because it's an Earth Bracer. Start battle with Unearth. Same situation as Rinoa. You would definitely use this if you had her ASB, but not her USB. If you've got her USB, since she doesn't have a way to unearth stack, you'd probably prefer to use, oh, actually, she doesn't have a good LM2, does she? Yeah, no, I think you'd want this regardless, because you don't want to use her LM2. It stinks. Unlike Renoa, Maria doesn't have a lot of good options when it comes to Legend Materia. And lastly, Sync LMR. This is honestly better than her BSB. You'd like to have her BSB because you want to have soul breaks to cast with somebody. You don't want to have no soul breaks to cast. That's obviously dumb. But Sync starting out with Unearth means that she's not bound by casting a soul break in order to deal a lot of damage with Stone Press. All right. About this banner. Well, what this banner does is it fulfills a need. Earth Magic. Earth Magic is really hard to come by. We do have access to Vivian Palom, so those they are a thing. If you plan on pulling on the banner that'll be going over in the very, very near future, Onion Knight is also a good Earth Mage. So you could assemble an Earth Mage team without using this banner at all, especially if you have Renoa's ASB. But it does have Red 13's chain. Let's see. You've got Galoof. So I'm looking for, or I'm trying to think of options to assemble an Earth Mage team without turning to this banner. And Ingus and Galoof are your other chain holders. What does Galoof bring to a magical team that is useful? Well, he's a White Mage 4. That's always going to be useful. He could potentially off-heal. He could protect Gashelga. He's not going to use Stone Press. The giant 66% damage reduction for physical attacks is going to make it so you're not gonna break the damage cap. So what's the point? He can imperil if you've got his BSB2. But I think the White Magic 4 makes him pretty good. So it's not... If you want to use people like Onion Knight, Vivian Palom, it's not... It would not be a bad idea to use Galoof's Chain. And Ingus is arguably better, because Ingus not only has access to White Magic 4, but he also has access to Support 4. And Ingus has his BSB2, which allows you to Earth Radiant Shields. That's a physical soul break that's going to contribute to his chain a lot. So I don't feel like you're required to pull on this banner if you've got other pieces to put together an Earth Mage team. You can do it without touching this banner. I do not have an Earth Chain. I plan on pulling for an Earth Chain on the next Final Fantasy V event. Hold on, let's go take a look at that, because that's, I guess, it's pretty important. It's not long after Fest as well. Got it ETA'd for October 18th, so it's a couple of weeks after Festival ends. It'll be before the second Magicite even launches. Oh, what is this? Get out of here. So this is Banner 2 of that event. We have Bart's USB 2, Gilgamesh USB 2, Lena USB, so it's not bad as a Torment banner, but 2 chains on it. Gilgamesh chain and Galoof chain. Yeah, this has very little to do with Earth Mages other than Gilgamesh's USB. Not Gilgamesh's USB, Galoof's chain. So, I would only consider this when thinking about this banner if you plan on pulling this for the other reasons. This is not a banner to pull on because, oh, I want to help my Earth Mage team out. It's not going to work for that. No Strider because it has nothing to do with the current banner that I'm talking about. That would be off topic. Alright, so verdict on this banner, it's one of the better banners in the festival because if you don't have the options to assemble an Earth Mage team outside of the kind of unorthodox methods, this is a fairly stacked banner for taking down the Lightning Magicite. One of the Lightning Magicites. Vivi's USB will be available in the USB Select, but that's a gem select. I'm not going to assume that anybody has that, as part of their plans, because I'm going to assume that you're not spending gems. If you are, then that's great. I'm probably going to be picking up Vivi's USB from the USB Select, which does impact this banner. Will I pull on it anyway? Because I do plan on pulling on this banner. But not, like I said, not deeply. I'm never going to pull deeply on a banner anymore. So it's a very low possibility that I'm going to end up with Galoof's Chain. So I think this banner is probably going to get at least one pull from me. Because it's very, very low likelihood that I'm going to be able to assemble an Earth Mage team good enough to do what I want to accomplish in the Lightning Magicite if I don't pull on this banner. And that's something I'll go on over right now, is that because of the way 5-star Magicite sets up, it's a one after another around the circle. So it starts Lightning Magicite. You use Earth damage to defeat that. Next, it's Water Magicite. You use Lightning damage to defeat that. Then it's Fire Magicite. You use Water damage to defeat that. And in defeating those Magicites, you get some really, really nice 5-star Magicite to help you out with the next one around the ring. I think in my heavily reduced pull plans for the next 6 months, I still think it is a good idea for me to develop a good Earth team to start that domino effect of getting good 5-star Earth Magicites to help me take down the next one, so I can take down or get more 5-star Water Magicites to help me take down the next one, and so on and so on. So I think it's a good idea to start out strong and then try to coast from there. And spend not much Mithril waiting for the giant power creep increase. So that would be another reason for me to pull here. So there's a very high possibility, or high probability, that we'll be pulling on this banner once or twice. And just hope for a disco that's not Larsa USB. Because all 4 of these are good for dealing Earth damage. Alright, what's everyone got to say about it? Alright, I gotta stop slamming the table in rhythm with the music, because it's shaking everything. Best banner of the fest. Alright. I think, in my opinion, probably is because it's a viable need for present day, and it accomplishes dealing with that need. Something that I personally believe makes sense to tackle now and not wait, half a year. What is the best alternative method for Earth magic outside of these? Well, I did go over that already, which would be VV Palom and Onion Knight, and Renoa ASB, along with her Super Soul Break from the Acolyte Archives. Yeah, 5-star Magicite starts before the banners. You will have multiple days to be frustrated with your lack of strength before we get to this banner, and hopefully the Earth pickup banner as well. Jose, it's not permanent, but I'll pass the word on to the real owner of this setup. Okay, give me one moment. I'm gonna highlight that as its own video, and then I'm gonna go get a drink before I start the next banner. If anyone wants a link to this so they can take a look at if you click on any of the soul breaks, it'll link to the animation. So if you want to take a look at the animations for yourself, because I'm just going to keep on going.